There we go. Well, happy Friday, May 20th. And today we're going to talk about sellers and how to give the best service to sellers, how to stay in touch with them, things to do, take advantage of your listings to get more buyers and get more business and leverage your listings. In this market, agents flat out, I'm coming out and saying this, are getting lazy with their listings. And for two reasons. One, not leveraging their listings to get more business. Two, not building a relationship with their sellers because they think their job is only to sell the property, which yes, ultimately is just to get a closing. Yes, that's important. That's the goal. But there's lots of things during it to build a relationship to get more referrals. So, and to show that you're doing a good job and you're communicating. So we're going to go over some theories, some concepts, because I know this topic, honestly, every time I talk about it, over the many years I've been doing this type of video and in-person training, it's always the one that's the least viewed. It's always the one that's the least attended, because how to work with sellers, how to give them the best service. I know that. Just talk to them, sell their house. No, there's a lot more points and lots more things to think about. And if you do it poorly, just because you got someone across the finish line doesn't mean that you are doing a great job. Just getting referrals, building that, because I see, you know why? I know that 100% without even talking to agents, because I see agents that many companies, even our own company, that get listing after listing after listing in their career, but they're not growing their business. They're not getting the referrals, they're not being talked about. They're not turning their sellers into advocates for them. So some things to think about. So first, we're going to talk about what are the key to serving a listing. What are the keys? And what you're supposed to be doing and thinking about is meeting the emotional needs of the client. So everybody's different. So this is an emotional transaction for them, selling a home. Your job, yes, is to sell their house, but your job also as a professional, as someone that wants to build their career, is to meet the emotional needs that they need. You are their counselor, the real estate counselor. I say this almost once a day to an agent, some days more than others, is that sometimes we feel like we're psychiatrists and psychologists more than realtors, right? Now, that's a good thing too, because we're counseling them. We're counseling. We are advising. We're not just a salesperson. We're more than that. And when you connect to people emotionally, that's when the referrals come. That's when they have a connection with you. Things are flowing. And that's when they feel like they need you. Just like yesterday I was saying, they need you on that wall. They want you. You are meeting their emotional needs. Other keys that your job is to think about is to make sure the client feels like they have been heard when you're having discussions, and that your job is to relieve their frustration and anxieties. So again, they want to be heard about, because you don't know what their emotional needs are going to be if you don't hear what's important to them, the things they're thinking about, the things that they're worried about, the things that they're nervous, they have anxiety about. And communication is very important during that. So we're going to go over some things, some talking points too. But the most important thing, which a lot of agents miss the mark on this, is that the most practical way to give exceptional service and the best service is frequent communication. Now, that sounds, of course, you're like, of course, you got to communicate with them. Yes, about what's going on, what's happening, what's going to be happening, suggestions. There's so much to talk about. And some agents, especially when the house doesn't sell right away, or there's offers coming in or showings coming in, there's going to be a market like that. So a lot of this, is over years of experience. But so a lot of this is notes and classes that I've done when there was a buyer's market and there was listings that didn't sell and expired and were on the market 6+ months and things. So I'm going to give you some things to think about and to have some skills when that market happens, because there's going to be a lot of agents that are just going to basically not ruin their career, but ruin listings and ruin opportunities for themselves because they're not skilled in some of the things we're going to talk about today. So frequent communication. We're going to talk about a little bit about communication here. So most importantly, and everything's important, and I'm going to say that a lot, but silence is deadly. Silence is deadly. What happens is when your sellers don't hear from you and let them know what's going on, minimal once a week, then they feel that, this is the most important thing. Guess what? Every day, several times a day, they're thinking of you personally. What are you doing? You know why? They have a reminder because, one, their house is on the market. So every day they get up, every day they go to sleep, they think about selling their house and they think of you. Two, when they thought they weren't thinking about you anymore, they pulled out of their driveway and there's your name on the sign. And every time they pull into their driveway, they see it again. And what do they think? What's Tony doing today? What's he doing to sell my house today? So several times every day, a seller is thinking about you, what you're doing, and are you making them a priority? So you got to communicate with them, no matter if there's nothing to say. So let's take a step back and to at least talk about if a minimum once a week conversation, just to let them know how many showings are there, a summary, just minimal once a week. But I feel that agents, let's just take it's a normal market because you might have 20 showings in a day, but at the end of every day that there's showings, 1 or 100, you got to communicate with them saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, just want to give you an update of what's going on. We had 3 showings today. I contacted all the agents for feedback. This is one agent did return my call, gave me this feedback that their buyers are this, the buyers are that, and they know that you are watching who's going in, who's going out, what's their feedback, do they want to write an offer, and it's daily, every day. So every day there's something happening with their house, you have to communicate with them that you are watching that. It's so easy to text too, but have a conversation with them, because also what can you say at the end of every conversation? Oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals. So if you have anybody else that you're talking to, because guess what? When that seller's selling their house, what are they doing? They're trying to sell their house too. They're talking to people. Hey, we got our house up at market. We're moving here. Guess what? They might find someone. They're like, oh, really? I'm selling my house too. Oh, I want to sell. Oh, my neighbor's selling. Oh, they talking to someone that knows someone that knows someone. So remind them of that. Say, hey, when you're talking to people and talk about selling a house, find out if they know anybody. I love those referrals. I make them a top priority. Use your communication, daily communication with your seller to remind them, hey, never too busy for your referrals. Minimum. The more times you talk to them, the shorter the conversation gets, because they know what you're going to say. Hey, you're just a quick update, this minute, 2-minute conversation. outgoing call saves you so much time from an incoming call. So an outgoing call could be on average 2 minutes. An incoming call, when that seller's calling you, he or she or both of them on a speakerphone have things on their mind and they want to discuss. If you let that get to the point where they have been thinking about and discussing whatever there's in their mind to call you, it's a conversation that you want to have a discussion. And guess what? You know when they're calling you? When they are free. They're like, okay, after dinner, we'll just say it's a husband and wife sitting down, like, they're debating. Let's call Tony. Let's have a conversation about this. And then boom, it's a 20-minute conversation. So you could have 10 outgoing calls to 1 incoming call. So every time you talk to them, anything else on your mind that you want to discuss. And then those little tiny questions might pop up. We'll save, a stitch in time saves 9. I think that's the saying. So it's kind of like you're catching it early. So, and then the more times you talk to someone is the more things they have to say or know that you're doing. And it's good for referrals. My great agent, Tony, calls me every day, gives me an update, says he talks to the other agents, he talks to see what's going on, gives us ideas. One other thing, and I haven't done it too much lately. I mean, almost once a week at least, I have an agent calling me saying, hey, can you check this house? The house isn't selling. It's been sitting a little bit. Can you take a look at the market for me and see what you think? I get that a lot. Not as much as in years past when the market's different, but definitely that's a big part of my day when it's a buyer's market. But the one thing that I see, and this is if you want to write these notes down, is that sometimes listing agents, that houses that sit for a while, the one thing you should do right away when you get a listing is set yourself up on an automatic search of what's new, what's pending, what's sold in that same market, like you're a buyer. So you should get notified instantly. You put a house on the market, $299.9, we'll just say. But let me just say it, jump into sales mode. Don't list a property for $299.9. No, don't do it. You know what you list it for? $300. Even don't do the $299.9s, maybe $289, $279, $269. That's fine. $299.9, $199. You're going to miss out on half the people. Some people might be looking $300 to $400, $300 to $500, somewhere, and you're at $299.9. You just missed half those people. So if you're in one of those, $199.9, we'll say $149.9. Make it $150, because some people are looking $150. So something to think about. If I had all the time in the world and there was 3 of me, I'd be watching every one of our listings coming in and suggesting that. But back to the market. So when you get a listing, you've got to know what's on the market, what's happening, what's selling, what's new. Because when I have an agent call me and go, hey, Tony, can you help me out with this? It's just not selling. What do you think? Can you see what's going on? And then I look and I said, they listed it, we'll just say 4 months ago. And I go, did you notice that in the same price range, same city, same style of home, in the last 4 months, 5 other properties came on the market after you and sold before you? And they're like, what? Really? You're kidding. Like, yes, aren't you watching? So what happens with listings is you are helping the new listings. So example, you put your house on $299.9. We'll just say that. And because you're the only one on the market today, the day you list it, or in that, so it's like, hey, Mr. and Michelle, we could list $299. I think we could get that because there's nothing else on the market in this price range right now or in this area. And I think people pay a little bit more. So let's, I think normally it should be 275-ish, 270, 270 to 280. That should be, let's go 299, because really there's no other things, no other ones in the market. And guess what? Another buyer comes in, they want to live in the city, this neighborhood, this area. They might pay a little bit more. So let's try it. Let's put it up a little bit higher. Guess what? The next house, with the next listing agent saying, hey, to next seller, hey, you want to sell quickly? Yes, great. This, you should be around 270, 280. That's what the ones that have sold. This one, this one on the market is 299. How quickly do you want to sell? Like, I want to sell quick. Like, okay, let's position your house, the new listing, at 179.9. They're at 199.9. It's gonna sell. This is where you should be. This is where the sales are, and then it sells for 279.9. Because for asking price, because they see the value, the buyer see the value. The buyer sees the other one is on the market for 299.9. They don't care that all the other comps have been selling for 270. They'll pay $10,000 more because it looks like they're getting a $20,000 deal, because the other one's at 299.9. And then the 299.9 realtor didn't see that happen. And the worst thing you could think of as happened to you as a listing agent is the seller is calling you, again, incoming call to you, telling you what's happening in their market. Hey, my neighbor's house just went on the market. I just pulled into my neighborhood. I saw a new sale sign. And they're listed 20,000 less than me. If they call you to tell you that, you're losing business. You're burning the relationship. You're the one with the knowledge. So you have to know what's going on in your market instantly, so you can let your sellers know. And you can reposition. Hey, Mr. Mrs. Seller, I know we listed your property, 4 weeks ago. We've had a couple good showings, this and that, but just today, 2 new listings came on the market. You're at 299.9. They're at 279.9. Same identical houses. They're using you as an example. What do you want to reposition your house? They'll go, what do you mean reposition my house? Now, there's 3 houses on the market. Only 2 buyers have been in this market in the last 6 months. Sales, two sales like this in the last 6 months. So there only might be 2 more buyers. If there's 2 buyers and 3 listings, your house, great house, love your house, but there's 2 other listings, 20,000 lower than you. What should we do? What do you want to do? Do you need to sell quickly? Because those houses probably will go quicker because they're lower. Do you want to reposition your house? Do you want to lower the price? So don't let just time dictate when you need to lower the price too. Because you're going to have that conversation with sellers sometimes of lowering their price when the house isn't selling, and time is there, but use the market to help you justify the lower price live, not after it happened. So if you go to them, go, hey, just wanted to let you know, say it's 5, I'm just throwing out there, 4 months into it, now you're going for a listing, price reduction. But again, that's way too long anyways. But and you got to tell them, and you look in the market and show them the data, and you show that, oh, these houses came on the market months ago and sold months ago, or pending, and you have to tell them that, and you didn't give them that. Oh yeah, by the way, this house came on the market 3 weeks ago, went pending, 2 weeks ago, was only in the market 7 days, and then you're telling that house has only been on the market 7 days, and their house has been on the market 3 months. They're going to be kind of upset with you. They should be upset with you. Why didn't you tell us this? Why didn't you let me know? So the whole point of that part was to know the market so you could update the seller live while it's happening and could reposition the listing. So all of this is showing that you are communicating live what's going on with showings, following up with other agents, what's happening in the market, new listings, what's going pending, what's sold and transferred, what expired. If there's another house like it that expired, you see, look at this one. This one was also 299.9, and they were on the market 5 months, 6 months. Now it's expired. They didn't sell it at 299.9. So every house, I've never seen in 30 years in real estate, seen a property or a house that someone who wanted to sell didn't sell. Every property will sell. It's just when, who, and what price. Any property. So you, as the real estate advisor, is to keep your seller engaged, emotional, make sure you're understanding their emotional needs and communicate with them, and make sure that they know that you're on their side and always working for them daily, not once a week. So again, I think sometimes this is where social media could hurt a little bit if you don't communicate with your sellers. Imagine this. You're a seller, you're getting frustrated, and because your house isn't selling and you're not talking to them or communicating with them enough, but every day they go on your Facebook because you friended them on Facebook just to be part of good, and they see sold, see you given a gift of keys on a front porch to another buyer or a seller. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. It's kind of like you have a relationship. It's like you're cheating. It's like you're cheating on them. They're getting frustrated. They're getting upset. And that leads into the next kind of topic is when you have sellers that are things that don't sell, they turn into that 5 stages of grief. You know, if you ever heard of that, the stages of grief, that things people go through when they have a loss, kind of works hand in hand with sellers. You know, the 5 steps basically of grief is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Sellers go through that same type of pattern when things aren't going the way they want. When you really need to, where you earn your commission or earn that advocate for you, when you jump in there and catch this before it starts happening. Because communication and updates and market analysis of what's happening live, what other agents are doing all of the time, keep you building that relationship like you're doing it together. And again, back to that frequent communication. You can't let them, you're lost part of their advocacy if they're ever calling you and telling you what's going on with my house and why isn't it selling. Now, some other things. Now, that's just a little bit, you know, of thought of the emotional part of it. I went into kind of off on a tangent a little bit about how if they're not selling in price reductions. I'm not going to go into too much of that because we're not really in that market yet, but we will be. I want to go into more things of communication during the transaction and things to prepare them for that I've seen over many years where sellers kind of, they don't do this every day and they're not prepared for certain things. So example, home inspections. Number one, let me just start with this market right here. If I can control every one of our sellers, if I, as the broker of our office, could go in and with every listing appointment with all of our agents, if I could be there by your side next to you every time you are listing a property, I will have my broker hat on and my advisor hat of being in real estate for 30 years and how to protect my sellers, our sellers. So this goes to anybody out there. So little service announcement. We as an industry are going to have a flood like we've never had before. You're like, what is this going to be? What are you going to say, Tony? What are we going to have? I'm like, it's coming. I've already see it. A flood of, and probably, my opinion, the most lawsuits that agents have been involved in and companies been involved in than ever before in the next couple of years. The reason being is this: home inspections. Every seller, in my opinion, disclaimer, my opinion, from being, I was raised by an attorney. My father was an attorney mind. As a child, going to school, coming back, getting into trouble as a little kid, or not doing as good as I should or well as I should at school, or just misbehaving, whatever. Whew, father with an attorney, he'll drill you like you're on a stand. And also, even before I knew it, hearing his stories of what's happened in his day, lawsuits, this and that, I learned a lot. I didn't even realize how much I learned until I got into business. So the point I'm getting at is to help protect your seller. So sellers, all sellers, my opinion, should require a buyer to have a home inspection. Require it. Did I say that again? Require it as part of the deal. You, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, must have an inspection. Why? And the seller goes, no, I don't want them to have an inspection. I want this to go easy. I just want just no inspection. I'm like, no, this Miss Seller, this is why, is that you as a seller have to disclose everything that's wrong with the house. Oh yeah, we will. We're going to disclose everything that we know. Okay. Every time I've had an inspection, every single time I've had an inspection, thousands of inspections, they find stuff that you don't know. That's their job. They're paid hundreds of dollars to find stuff wrong with your house. Could be a light bulb, could be a switch, it could be a little, you didn't realize that behind a sink in the basement of a half bath that you never use, that there's a little leak that's turned into mold that's behind the sink that you never even opened that cupboard up. So the point I'm getting at is, when they don't have an inspection, the inspector finds that, when, and this is where the lawsuits come in, when they open that cabinet up and find that mold, they're going to go, seller knew about it. They didn't disclose it. How could they not know about it? No. And you really legitimately didn't know, Mr. and Miss Seller, but they believe you did. They don't know you. They don't know you from Adam. What are they going to do? They're going to sue you, because now it costs money to fix. They're going to sue you. It's going to cost you time and money. They're going to, guess what? They're going to sue their agent, and they're going to sue the listing agent. They're going to sue everybody, saying they didn't get, someone didn't know, but didn't disclose. I see that all of the time. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how we help protect you against that possible liability in the future, we make them have an inspection. Guess what? When that inspector finds it, especially in this market, oh my God, I'm so passionate about this. In this market, it's a seller's market. If they find mold, that buyer wants that house so bad, they don't care. So this is the time that sellers have the leverage to say, who cares if they have an inspection? Whatever they find, this buyer is still going to buy their house. Now you protected yourself. They were disclosed. They found it. They saw it. Also, if the inspector doesn't find stuff and then the seller finds it out later, like they went up to the attic to do something, found way in this back in the corner, way in something that there's a leak, and I'm stuck on the mold because it happens. And they find mold, and they try to say, you knew about it. Said, how would I know about it? Your own professional home inspector didn't find it. Guess what? That buyer's inspection just saved the seller. So the point I'm getting at to help service the seller is, Mr. Seller, Mr. and Ms. Seller, this is to protect you. What does that show them? To show that you're looking out for them. Does this happen often? No. You know why? They'd still, because they're talking to their neighbors or talking to, oh no, don't get, if you have a buyer that says, I don't want to have an inspection, that's great. They're just taking it as is. There's no such thing as is. There's no such thing as is. You know why? Because we get in lawsuits every year over Mr. Buyer bought the house, right in the contract that says as is. They had an option to have an inspection. They didn't do, they signed it, they agreed to it, still a lawsuit, cost time and money. So what is that to me as a professional? Even if the sellers don't take it, they show that you're a professional. They show that you are giving them advice. You're trying to protect them against something happen. Also, stuck on inspections, things to show, go over and above. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we can have, and we don't see enough of this, we could have, when it's a buyer's market, definitely these are big in buyer's markets. What that means that the buyer has a control because there's sellers want to sell more than the buyers. There's more options for buyers. There's 10 houses for sale on a street and the buyer could pick any of them. That's a buyer's market. So Mrs. Seller, you know what we could do to help make sure the buyer, any new buyer is going to have an inspection. Why don't we get one before they do? Why not? Let's go get one. We could, and I have several inspectors that I could recommend. You could pick one of many, and some of them charge a lot less for pre-inspections or pre-list inspections because they're not doing it 100% thorough. You could go all the way. I suggest to do that, and that couple $100 that you're spending for that inspection will save you thousands because all the little things that they find, it's the buyer adds 10 times to what it costs. So it's like little paint here, little regrade the outside, fix a gutter that's downspout that's not connected, GFI outlet, service your furnace because it hasn't been serviced in a few years. All of these things an inspector is going to find. You do that because when they get that long list of a home inspection, they're going to say that costs thousands of dollars when really it's hundreds. And some of the stuff might be so small you could do it yourself. So it could fix it, like a loose outlet or a loose, things that could be handy. So again, the whole point of what I'm trying to explain is how to go above and beyond, say things, do things. Imagine they're going, hey, when that seller's talking to other people, my agent gave me the greatest advice to have an inspection before. Like, why would you want an inspection before? Well, because I want to find all the things that their home inspector is going to find, jump on them now so their inspector doesn't find them and my house looks even better. And the better it looks, the better the price is. And what else was I say? I'm sorry, got off track there. Oh, and then making buyers have an inspection too, to make sure they are doing it. Now, this is some of the legal part of it too. So put on my legal hat is when you have an inspection, if you have a full-blown report inspection, you have to provide that to the next buyer. So whatever you fix, you got to show they fix. So again, disclaimer, my legal opinion, that's why some buyers listings, we don't suggest that sometimes. Just say, get an inspector out there, charge $100, $200 to breeze through your house, talk to you while you're going through things, just verbally fix this, fix this, fix this, watch that, because it's all verbal and things that you could do. It's not an actual report that you have to physically give to someone else. Now, if the inspector finds stuff that you're not going to fix or an issue, you have to disclose that. But again, the whole point is a lot of sellers get worried about that. Like, I don't want to find things, then I got to disclose it. They're gonna find it on their inspection. It just makes you look better. Hey, by the way, there's a little bit of moisture in the back corner of the house. but we've never seen any water trickle. It's been there for years. Now there's no movement in anything. Over disclosing is a lot better than them finding it going, why didn't you disclose there's moisture? I could see it on the wall. So I could go on and on about inspections, but the whole point to that was things that you can do. Now, during the transaction, when you have and I'll kind of shift gears here to now you have an offer. Central Two and Home Star agents, we have a great tool and more agents are using it. I wish everybody would use it, but there's no tool that everybody uses. So we have Tracker, Central 21 Tracker, an app that lets our clients connect with you, keeps them updated of what's going on, kind of like, and I use this in past videos, it's kind of like when they, you're tracking something like I got an Amazon package coming today and I'm tracking it. The UPS, where is it? It says by 7 o'clock today. And I got the app, I got the notification. So if they drop it off before 7, it goes ding, and I know it's at my house. And what do? They send a picture. It's on your house, it's on your porch. They left it by the garage. Sometimes occasionally, not too often, but luckily I've seen like, oh, what? That's not my front porch. Where did they drop that off? I've had that because I know I'm telling the story. I have my work address on there. I have my kids in college. I have their address on there. And there's been times someone, the kids order something on Amazon, or I do, and didn't check the delivery and got shipped somewhere else. It happens sometimes, like, was waiting for that, got shipped somewhere else. So the point I'm getting about Tracker is it could use technology to stay in touch with your sellers. So when you're in a transaction and they have a signed offer and there's things happening, you not keeping them updated of what's happening. Example, and stick on the inspection. They have an inspection, the buyer has an inspection. If you didn't prep them, okay, Mr. Mrs. Sellers, remember in the contract they have 3 days after the inspection to give us their findings. If they want to give us a copy, they can. They don't have to give us a copy. They might ask for repairs. They might ask for some money. They might just move on with the transaction, but they have 3 days for that. So as soon as it's done, I'm going to reach out to the other agent by the end of the day, say, hey, any thoughts, any things going on? And they'll say either, yeah, everything's great. They reviewed it. Sometimes the buyers want to think about it overnight, but I'll leave every day, twice a day. So end of the day, inspection, end of the day, give them an update. If there's no update, then I'm going to follow up with the agent first thing in the morning, see if they heard from their buyer from the overnight. And I'll follow with them early afternoon, give them the morning to talk, early afternoon and noon. Anything happened this morning, buyer's agent, no, then I'm going to follow up with them at the end of the day again and let you know. Because when a seller's having their home, their place where they've raised their children, their pride and joy being inspected, like an examination, they want to know the results. They want to know. And if you just go silent on them, it kills. If they have an inspection on Friday and they go the whole weekend waiting to hear from you, and gosh, what is the number one thing I hear from our agents that I've coached and helped and mentored? Well, there's nothing to tell them. Then tell them nothing. That's a short conversation. How easy is that? Hey, check with the agent. Nothing news yet. Buyers are still thinking about it. Hopefully have an answer soon. Call you back later. Let you know. What's going on? Where's the answer? They're nervous. Are they going to ask for money? Are they going to ask for repairs? Did they find something? They don't. Just imagine almost some people could be on the same emotional level. You have some type of examination or waiting for a diagnosis from your doctor. Like, hey, took your blood. We're going to give you the blood work. Well, what's taking so long? Was everything okay? And the longer time, the more nervous they get. So show your support, again, connect to their emotional level, connect to the emotion that they have of being nervous and want to know what's going on. In today's day and age, with communication, how easy it is to send a quick text. I suggest call, because what can you say? Hey, remember, never too busy for your referrals. So, and build that emotional connection. You don't know their emotions through text. How nervous are they? How easy they could say, hey, Tony, don't worry, I understand, I've been through this before, just call us. It can even ask them, do you want me to update you twice a day? Would you? Oh no, just, I know they have 3 days, let me know. Or yes please, yes please, yes, please update me. You could hear it in their voice, where that emotional level is. So that's very important to that. So throughout the process, the appraisal, another thing, the appraisal comes. They know when the appraiser comes from the bank, they want to know what it is. Is it okay? So you got to prep them. Sometimes they think an appraiser's coming, that they're going to get a copy from it. They think that they're going to get to know the amount of it. So prep them. Say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, next Tuesday, we have an appraisal. The appraiser's coming. Now, when the appraiser does the appraisal, sometimes they're fast, sometimes they're slow, sometimes a week later. We don't know. That lender, the buyer's lender, ordered the appraisal. We don't know their process. We don't know if it's a complete appraisal, if it's a price opinion. Sometimes they do drive-by appraisals. Because the buyer puts down such a big down payment and they're so well qualified, we don't even know. They might have scheduled, but the appraiser might not even come in your house. They might just drive by going, yeah, house is still here. It's not gone. And they just give them a 1-page or whatever. It's not even a complete appraisal. But also, that is for the buyers and the lenders' knowledge. Sometimes they don't want to share that with you. They should, and we like them to, and I'm going to try to get them so you know. But also, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, chances are 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, the price is going to come back at the same price as the purchase price. You know why? Because they give them that and let them know. Your house, we have an offer for $279,900. We told it for $280,000. Chances are the price is coming at $280,000. It's just basically saying, hey, the purchase price is the value. It's not they don't know in hopes that they get it. They know what target to hit. Basically, an appraisal is this. They order an appraisal saying, the buyer thinks this house is worth $280,000. Is it worth $280,000? Then they come back, yes, it's worth $280,000. There's not an exact science. Because sometimes sellers sell their properties and they think it's worth more. They think it was worth less, but they got a good deal, like $20,000 over asking. So letting them know, because you never know without having that conversation, if they're sitting there waiting, like, wow, we've had an appraisal like a week ago. Why doesn't our agent talk to us and tell us what that appraisal came back at? A lot of agents don't even know that. They're curious. Where is it? And they're letting them ask questions. Hey, what did the appraisal come back? Oh, well, you don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's okay. They would have let us know if it wasn't. Again, you lose the battle a little bit if they're asking you questions first. So you should be proactive with that. And then through the process, working with, again, every time you're communicating with them, be the voice, be the call, the title company, let you be the one helping schedule the closing. If they're coming out the house, make it convenient. Because if a bad title company, not all bad, but if someone at the title company did a poor job of trying to schedule them to close too late, last minute, not making convenient, people out, it reflects against you. So the last thing at the end of the transaction is the title company and how it handles how they sign papers, where they go, if they're coming out to them, getting their proceeds, all of that. And if that gets blown, that process is a horrible experience for your sellers. That's what they're going to remember. And not enough agents take control of this. Who is the escrow officer? Who is going to be contacting my sellers? When are they going to contact them? Who's the closer? Is it an outside closer? Is someone work for the title company? Who are they? What's their name? And when are they going? And who are they with? You know, be the voice. Why don't you be the one to schedule it? So they don't even talk to the title company. Very rarely, you know, most agents go, wait to hear from the title company, call the title company. Be that person, be the quarterback to that. So you're in control of what's going on. And we all know in this business, not everybody does a great job. Not everybody does a great job. So you have to be the one relaying the messages. So many times agents listing, they think it should be less work because they don't have to go out there. And then also, let me make a step back, make a trip or two if it's convenient for, to go talk to your sellers. Just pop by. Also, what does it make you do? It makes you look good that you're in the neighborhood, that they picked the right agent. Hey, was just in the neighborhood. Just wanted to pop by. Just want to give you an update. What's going on? Hi. See your face, a little FaceTime with them. By the way, great. You know, even in the summertime, you know, imagine this. You want to do some prospecting. It's summer. It's the weekend. People are out in their yard. You pull up to the house with your Century 21 Homestar magnets on the side of the car. Your seller's cutting the grass. You decide to sit there and talk to your sellers while all their neighbors are around. And hopefully they're walking by, walking their dogs, waving. Maybe you could even get in a conversation with somebody. Hey, who's this? If you have a listing in a very highly social neighborhood or community, why isn't your face out there? Why isn't your car out there with your magnets on the side? Why aren't you driving around kind of like the ice cream man of that neighborhood? Like, I'm here, I do business here. How you doing? You're out in your yard, you're driving around, wave to people like it's a parade. You're like, what are you doing? Well, we'll just check out the market, you know, have that listing down the street, wave to people. It's like you're on, show your face in that neighborhood. You know, I know neighborhoods are a little bit different places. You know, you go to it's quiet neighborhood. No one comes out of their front door. They all sit in their backs. No one will know you're there. But I'm just talking, take advantage of those neighborhoods, those cul-de-sacs where everybody on the weekends cutting their yard and everybody's in each other's businesses and they're just walking around. Show some face time around there. So that's how you get your name out to an area and use your listings. So we're going on the 50-minute mark. I could go on and on and on and on and on. So anybody who's watching this video, hopefully you get the feel that there's so much more you can do to build a relationship, connect with people emotionally, to show them that you are needed in the transaction and you are the one that they should be recommending and be an advocate for you to other people, especially again, there's so many different angles and so many different levels, especially if they've sold houses before. All these extras, all these conversations, all these communications going out to the house in the neighborhood, the inspections, all of these things, all these suggestions and advice and advising and counseling, and they've sold house before and their other agent did none of this. They have a past experience. You know when you go into back, wow, we made it this long without comparing to a restaurant. Maybe I talk about restaurants a lot because it's always at noon, I'm hungry. So, but when you go into a restaurant, when you go, oh my God, is this service? I didn't even know you could have this kind of grid service because you never had it before, or it was so just everywhere you go, it's the normal check in on you. I'm like, oh my God, you know, like you go into a fine restaurant, I'm like, they're cleaning up the crumbs on my table, you know. I'm like, oh my God. I went to one restaurant once, steak place, and had salad first, and it was one of those wedges, you know, whatever. And and they brought me out early the steak knife. You know, sometimes that nice steak knife. I use that. I was like, hey, it's a sharp knife. Why don't I use it? I use it to cut my salad, put it down. The server, you know, after he grabbed the salad, looked at the knife, saw it was used, grabbed the knife. And I go, oh, and then the first reaction, because it never happened before, it's like he took my knife. Why did he take my knife? And then it hit me. I'm like, he saw that I used it on my salad. He saw a little bit of remnants on there. He's getting me a fresh knife. I'm like, whoa. And he brought me out. Thank you. I didn't even think of it. It just hit me. I'm like, oh my God, look at that service. They're making sure my silverware is clean. I didn't use it. I used the right fork, and it's like, oh my God. Again, so that stuck with me. Imagine you do the same thing for sellers that have sold houses before. You go above and beyond. You talk to them, you visit them, you go back. Most listing agents, you know, when the next time they go to the house, when they're picking up their sign. When they go get the listing and when they pick up the sign. That's it. When you go back, how many times do you spend with buyers going, seeing them? Go visit your sellers. Go visit them. Go stop by, talk to them. You can sign electronic documents on your iPad with your finger. You could go there, even though it's electronic. You don't have to let them open it up on their computer or their cell phone. You could go there and say, here's my tablet, click here to sign, click there to sign. You could still do it in person and show them you're there. Of course, time is money. So just imagine, I always tell my listing agent, imagine if this was a buyer, how many hours and hours and hours would you be face in front of if they were a buyer? And why, when it's your listing, you're taking so much more face time out of the game. And when you should be able to, you know where they are, you know where they live, take advantage of that. So hopefully that was enough to digest and think about on things that you could do to service a seller, take advantage of your listings, go the extra step to make sure that you give them above and beyond service, that so they can go tell their family, friends, and be your advocate out there and show where you differentiate yourself, where you go above and beyond and do things differently and better than your competition. So that's it for today on a Friday, the 20th. So thank you very much for watching today. And please, I hope you could join me on Monday, and have a great day and a great weekend. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.